Good morning, and welcome to a bright and sunny Winnipeg. Still cool, 5.8 Celsius. That's not very warm, but at least it's not snowing. Okay, now, somebody commented and said that I better watch out, or something to that effect, about the ladders here, that there was a couple of ladders here that I thought were both the same size, and they're not. I was looking at two of the long ones here, the number 39 and the number 40. I thought they were the same one, by just going by what it looked like in the manual. And, it might be a good idea if I got out some more tuna fish tins and kept them separate. As you can see, everything looks pretty much the same as it did when we ended off yesterday's episode. But we'll continue on here today, and we'll do a little bit, and we will go forward. Unless I accidentally drop something on this and I'd have to spend a lot of time repairing, that kind of stuff happens, I haven't had it happen, I don't think, on this particular build yet. But I've broken stuff on the I remember breaking the ensign flag staff, I think it was, on the Bismarck, and or was it the flag staff on the front? I can't remember. Anyway, and I had to try and I think I extruded some sprue and made up another one, if I remember right. Anyway, there's a lot of things that can happen that can really set you back several hours. You really appreciate Trumpeter making all these little parts when suddenly you have to try and make one up for yourself. Then you realize, oh my goodness. Anyway, let's, I did something here this morning at the, completely different, you might say, but you remember about, a month ago when I was talking about my big lathe burned out down in the basement, and I was lamenting the fact that now, because the chuck that was on my big lathe was 1 1/4 inch by 8 thread, and my new little lathe was only 1 inch by 8 thread, and the two were incompatible. Well, one of the viewers said that One Way sells adapters. So I've been thinking about that ever since I read that comment, and if that viewer is listening, thank you for that comment. And so I checked, and sure enough, One Way sells adapters. Well, don't you know, so does Lee Valley. And so I had a little bit of credit with Lee Valley, and I thought, okay, I may as well take advantage of that, and that little bit of credit pretty much paid for the shipping. So I got it from Lee Valley for the same price. I don't know when I'm going to get it, but I should be able to use my large chuck on my little lathe now. And, it was kind of funny. Well, I'll show it to you here. Just hang on. Pardon my boarding house reach here. Okay. This is an Allen key that goes in the bottom of the adapter, the bracket that goes in the bottom of the camera, and it used to be an Allen key. Well, here's the rest of it. So I thought, this is hard to hold on to. It kept falling out and so on, and so I thought, why don't I make something that's like this? And you see this little round piece of wood here. Well, my first thought was, I'll just run down to the basement and I'll turn myself down a little round piece of wood and drill a hole in it. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I can't use the chuck. Okay, so that's what that's all about. So we got a new adapter coming, so I'll be able to use my chuck. So the next time I want to make myself a little round thing. Okay. Anyway. Let's move on. Oh, sunrise this morning? We did have it. Nothing special, just nice. And yes, they did show up. Okay. What? I got to say something else too, and I forgot now. Got a comment from a viewer who said that he has watched every episode up to episode 1500, which means he's only got about 5 more to go and he's seen everything. And as I reply back to him, I am blown away when I read comments like that. I'm just so grateful, you might say, and appreciative that there are people that follow me, and I don't know why. I don't think I'm that interesting. Anyway, okay, let's move on here. Let's get our ladders, and I think what I'm going to do with the ladders is I'm just going to stick them down on upturned masking tape and just paint the one side of them, probably the 66, or maybe if I want them to stand out a little bit, I should maybe paint them something darker than 66. Maybe the 77 would be better. Yeah, if we ever get the Yamato, I'm going to stick to just maybe 3 or 4 basic shades of gray. Yeah, I'm not going to be, what was it? I've got it written down here. Somebody had thought that the XF75 would be a good color for the most of the Yamato. So I'll be getting a bunch of that, but not until I actually have the kit laying on the back table in the back room there. So I don't want to get too much stuff I'm not going to be able to use, just in case the Yamato does not show up. But I think there's a real good chance it will. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on here and get our little ladders. I think we've got all the frets needed here. Everything is on the D and the C frets. So let's get at it. Okay, now starting from left to right is C52. Now the story I'm about to relate to you may not be 100% true. But anyway, last night when I was trying to get to sleep, I'm sort of hearing this crying going on. Got real quiet in the house, fridge stopped and furnace stopped, and I could just hear everything. And maybe I'll just turn this here, it might be a little easier. Okay. So anyway, I realized at first I think it's the neighbor's dog, because when they go to work in the day, one of the 2 dogs cries pitifully. It misses its master so much. And anyway, I realized, no, the crying's coming from inside my house. So I hone in on the crying, and I find it's here on the model table. And what it was my macro lens. And I said, "What's wrong?" The macro lens says, "You didn't use me even once today." Okay, so we're going to have to make up for that maybe here and at least use it once. Okay, so here we go. Come on. Now, I'm pretty sure that you know which one of those stories is true and which one isn't. Yeah, it's the strangest thing. The neighbor leaves to go to work, and I'm sitting here at the model table, and I hear this pathetic weeping. And it's the neighbor's dog. Okay, for those of you who are reading my watch right now, you can see that it is really getting on here this afternoon. But we've got all the photo etch necessary now for steps 31, 32. And I had been thinking that there was only 16 straight ladders, but in one of the comments somebody indicated there was 18 straight ladders, and I thought, well, that's not right. And then later, when I was checking the manual here, the photo etch C36 we needed 2 of those. So that makes for the 18 pieces. Now, these ladders here, we're going to have to bend those into shape. Like we have to bend the treads over and the railings over and so on. But when we bend them, I want to show you something that I found that makes it easier for when you bend the treads. Yeah, let's just sort of recompose and bend a couple of these here, and we have to bend them in shape before we can paint them anyway. And then everything else has to be put down on upturned masking tape. So let's sort of get at that. Now, I get asked a lot, where did you get your wax pencil? I think I've probably, since I got it, I've been asked that probably 4 times. I just got another comment to that effect here in yesterday's episode. And okay, well, this particular one is available on Amazon. And but I didn't get it from Amazon. I got this from Six Airbrush Tony as a gift. And yeah, he sent that to us. Oh my goodness, it must be going on 3 years ago now. And anyway, that's where you can get them if you're, Amazon has them. And then they're not real expensive. You can get them. They're pretty reasonable. So let's put our macro lens on and bend this thing. Okay, before we move right in, let's turn this around. We should be able to get that underneath. Yeah. Okay, now let's move in. You know what? I think this thing has to be turned over. Well, we'll check it out when we move in. Yeah, I was right. The folding lines are down. Let's see if I can turn it over here now. There we go. I like to fold up towards the folding line. And it actually makes a difference, especially if you're making something like, say, something that is sort of square and boxy, and you want the edges of the box or whatever you're making to be nice and sharp, if you know what I mean. Okay. Maybe I should just reposition a little bit here. My lighting's not too good. Okay, now we can both sort of see. And I think I'm best off bending this outside one first. So I'm going to... Oh, another comment I get a lot is this one. Put the blade in the crack where the bend has to be, like the bending marks. Won't come to me. Anyway, yeah, and then slide the blade up to. Just let me get it in here. Okay, that's pretty much it, kind of. That keeps coming out. This might work better with a razor blade. Okay, so the idea is you would put your blade in the crack and then slide the blade up to the edge. Then that would indicate that your part was in the right position. But I have found that it works better for me if I look straight down on it, and then I can just sort of eyeball it. And I like to have it so that when it bends up, this part that is going to be bent up is not pushing against the nose of the breaker bar. Okay, so yeah, that's why I do it the way I do it. I can sort of see, and as you could also see, it doesn't always work that good for me. Okay, now I think that's just about right. I'm looking straight down on it now. Okay, so let us try and get underneath the railing there without bending the railing. I made the mistake of dulling this blade that I wouldn't cut myself on it. Oh, no, I went and shoved it underneath. You know, it could be that maybe I didn't have it down tight enough. Where's my other knife here? Where's my hobby knife? Just slip this sharp point underneath there and sort of lift it up. Just to get it started here. Okay, now I can get the other blade underneath there. Now I can see that I should have had the whole thing out about probably 1/10 of a millimeter more than I did, but that's okay because it's this is sort of what I want to talk about in a minute here. Okay, now let's take it out here. I should really clean this poor photo etch bender up. It's starting to get a little bit grungy. Sorry, Andy. Mind you, I've had it for how many years now? 4? It was about 4 years ago you sent this thing? Okay. That's pretty good. Okay. Okay, now that was almost all the way over 90 degrees. Now, what I wanted to say here was, you'll notice that they could be folded a little bit more together, you know, especially the one on the right. It's definitely flopping over to the right, and this one is slightly flopping over to the left. But that, I have found, is the way you want it for bending the treads. And the reason being is if these stringers are not 90 degrees to the treads, there's less chance of the tread catching when you bend it up. Okay, now it might be just all in my head and it doesn't really affect it, and I'm just imagining that it does. But I think it actually is better if you don't have these railings at a perfect 90 degrees. Okay, I think I beat this to death, haven't I? Let's recompose here and see if we can bend the treads. Okay, I'm going to do my best to keep this in your field of view. You notice a little black paint mark right here. So if I keep it over that, it should work out. Now, you'll notice I've got the railings slightly out this way on this one, and this one is slightly out this way. Now, this may, as I say, not make a whole lot of difference. Now, there's another thing. I have at least once bent the treads the wrong way. In other words, in reality, you go to step on the tread, and you'd be stepping on the edge of it instead of the flat part. So we want to get it so that, and also, it doesn't seem to matter if you start at the top and work down or start at the bottom and work up. Somebody was saying that if you start at one end, then the tread up above is not in your way. But if you start at the other end, then the tread the other way is in your way. So it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. And also, I have found that it doesn't seem to make a big difference if you bend from the back of the stairs, like back here, or if you bend from the inside. Either way seems to be difficult. Okay, now let me concentrate here so I don't go and bend them the wrong way after, all this lip flapping that I've been doing here. Okay, so now I want to bend them so that the tread is this way. And another thing, of course, you have to be careful that you don't accidentally bend two at the same time. Okay, we got that one right, I think. So let me check. If I was going to step on this, you know, if it was like this, yeah, I got it right. Probably driving you crazy with all this poking, right? Now I did sand the tips of my tweezers so that they're nice and smooth, but it seems to be having a bit of a problem here with this one. Oh, there we go. And I know we're not going to get them perfect, but it just has to give the illusion of being right. Alright, now this one here could maybe a little bit more. Alright, now how is that going to look? Did I bend them the wrong way now? No, I've got them right. Let me get this around here. Yeah, I've got them right. Okay, enough poking at this. You know what, I think maybe I'm going to have to cut today's episode, cut it off, and just continue on, because there's nothing else I can do until I get all of these ladders finished. So thanks for watching, everybody, and all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow.